Hello, fans, and welcome to another episode of High and Tight. I'm John Nolan, the PBR Virginia DC Content Manager and Northern Virginia Scouting Director. I am joined again today by the PBR Virginia DC Scouting Director, Jason Burton. Today, as we are recording this, we are less than 18 hours removed from the whirlwind weekend that was the 2023 Mid-Atlantic State Games. Burton, how are you feeling today?
I'm good.
Well, that's good. I know I was dragging most of the day yesterday after that Saturday, but I'm actually feeling okay today too. All right, so over the weekend we had 210 players. We had almost 250 registered from Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, DC, all from the classes of 2024, 2025, 2026, and 2027 come together in Hampton, Virginia for the third year in a row at War Memorial Stadium. We also had to expand this year, take the event across the water for game action to Nansemond River High School in Suffolk. Since the event isn't even a day old, it's a bit fast of a turnaround for us to give you deep thoughts and analysis on the standout players from this event. So we're going to look for that in future episodes. We're going to break those down by individual class. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to jump around and give you some quick hitting thoughts on standout performances that jumped out to us this weekend. Now, also, we are going to focus, as we usually do, exclusively on Virginia and DC players in our coverage of the event. If you're looking for Maryland and Delaware players, be sure to check out our cousins on Crab Cakes and Baseball, which you can find on the PBR Maryland website and also on our PBR Mid-Atlantic YouTube channel. Now, here's how we're going to do this today. We have a series of categories, and we want to highlight a few players each from each category. So without further ado, or I guess before I get going, Bert, you got any other notes before we get rolling here?
No, I mean, I think it's like important to say that we don't have time to talk about 200 plus players. Um, and we'll continue to add upon this list and all that over the next few weeks and break it down by class and potentially position and all that stuff. But like Nolan said, just kind of some quick hitters on some guys that kind of jumped out maybe in some different areas and stuff. Um, whether it be statistically or just performance or whatever.
All right, outstanding. Yeah, as much as we do want to talk about everyone and feature everyone, we're going to try. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be tough to fit it in a podcast that's not literally 24 hours long. So, our first category today is Workout Warrior. These are some of the players who we thought had the best and loudest performances during Saturday morning's workouts. During those workouts, we broke them into two groups. We had all infielders in the morning group, doing their position workouts, their defense, their batting practice, running their 60s, their visual edge evaluations. All of those things occurred there. Then we had a second group come in right around noon, the outfielders and the catchers. So what we're going to look for here is players who combine loud batting practice rounds with big numbers in some of those areas, such as position velocity and their 60. We're going to do three each in this group. I'm going to go ahead and roll first with three of the guys that jumped out to me. And the first one that I've got here is Trey Hamilton, a 2026 outfielder from Ocean Lakes High School. Trey, as we said, these are going to be guys with loud days. It was a 6.88 60, so sub 6.9 there already as a 2026. Showed some arm strength, outfield velocity there, as well as he showed 93 on his exit velocity. He was 83 from the outfield. So, like I said, some arm strength present as well, some looseness there. There's a lot of projection left in his frame. So, while those numbers were relatively loud for 2026, I could see that combination of numbers continuing upwards for him as he gains strength and continues to fill out his frame in the offseason. So, again, Trey Hamilton, outfielder, Ocean Lakes High School from the class of 2026. My second guy that I want to talk about here is also an outfielder, Braden Knapp, class of 2025. We're going to go to Northern Virginia here to Westfields High School. Braden has a strong physical 5'10 frame. Kid's clearly seen a weight room. Thought it was all around pretty good, 704 60. Showed arm strength, corner outfield kind of frame to him, 85 from the outfield. Big thing that jumped for me was his left-handed hitting batting practice round. He was 97 with his exit velocity. He was challenging the trees out in right field at War Memorial on a day where going out to right was a challenge. So I thought it was a really loud BP round combined with that arm strength and enough speed. He's got that prototypical left-handed hitting power kind of corner frame, and it's going to be a lot to like there. And again, that's Westfield 2025 outfielder Braden Knapp. And my third guy in this group, I'm going to stick in Northern Virginia. Another guy who had a really loud Saturday, actually followed it up with a pretty good pitching performance later on in the weekend, and that is Stonebridge High School 2025 outfielder right-handed pitcher Luke Thorson. Luke is 6'1", 190. It looks taller, it looks longer and lankier than that. If we're being honest, he ran a 7.3 60. Showed that 85 outfield velocity. Again, prototypical right fielder kind of frame. The exit velo was 97. He was just absolutely demolishing pitches during his BP round. I think I actually made the joke that Thorson is probably the Americanized version of Son of Thor, the god of hammers, because that's what it felt like while he was hitting. So really, really jumped out to me in his workout day. Again, he looked good on the mound. And that is 2025 outfielder right-handed pitcher Luke Thorson from Stonebridge High School. So, Burton, where are you going to go here with your workout warriors?
You led off with Hamilton, the Ocean Lakes outfielder. I'm actually going to stay at Ocean Lakes. Kind of sidebar note, it's good to see some of the athletes and positional guys that are in the program at Ocean Lakes now. Ocean Lakes over the past few years has been kind of dominated, I think, by arms in terms of their talent. Personnel wise, outside of probably Carson DeMartini, who was pretty good hitter in his own right. But I'm going to go to 25 Austin Crew. Center fielder, started outfield for Ocean Lakes last year, 6'8" runner, 84 from the outfield, 98 mile an hour exit velocity. I thought he had a really good round in BP. The barrel explodes through the zone. He's balanced. He's quick twitch. I think there's a good combination of physicality and athleticism there for Crew. And that's 25 Ocean Lakes outfielder Austin Crew. The next one, I'm gonna stay in the beach area, but I'm gonna class it up one and go to uncommitted infielder Joe Norman. Norman has long been, I think, in my opinion, one of the better infielders down in the beach area. One of the better middle infielders. He's versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. Worked out in the outfield, worked out in the infield. 6'9" runner. I want to say we've seen him somewhere in the mid 6'8" range. Maybe not. It might be his quickest, 6'9" 4. But just athletic, lean, lanky, 6 foot, 175. Goes to Catholic high school. I thought in game he had some barrels. He had some tough luck. It's a pretty quiet, compact swing. He's got some length out front. He's got some whip in the barrel. He can defend. Again, he's got some positional versatility. I think he can play third, short, or second in the infield. He can play outfield. He's quick enough where he could potentially play center. Above average arm strength. I just think he's got a strong set of tools to make him very versatile and valuable. And then I'm going to move southwest to one of the loudest rounds of BP on Saturday, and that is 26 Halifax outfielder Logan Clark. There's some juice in that swing for sure. I think he gets a little top hand to the pull side at times, but it still has carry. I think it backspins it a little bit more towards the middle and backside gap. 6'9" runner. Logan is 6'1", 170. Looks a little bit taller and longer than that, but he can really bang it. 100 exit velo. I think 24.5 mile an hour hand speed, 76.8 mile an hour bat speed. Rotates at a 27.8 G clip, which means he rotates really well. Just explosive. I think he was up to 88 on the mound. Y'all had him, I believe, Nolan, at y'all's field on Saturday night. He was up to 88 on the mound. What was he in the outfield? He was 89 in the outfield. Just a strong set of tools, long levers. I just think the kid, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure what he is. I haven't had a chance to see him pitch in game. Y'all saw him on Saturday night. Jerry, I know I talked to Jerry a little bit about it. He was pretty impressed. Like there's some effort and there's some kind of violence in the delivery, but the ball explodes out. It's kind of a lot coming at hitters, so it can make for some uncomfortable at bats. And like I said, it's just a strong set of tools there. He has a chance to do some different things, to offer some value and add some value to his profile.
Yeah, and absolutely. We'll get back to Logan Clark. I have him coming up later on something I want to mention too. So his name's coming up again later, guys. So make sure you keep listening. All right, second category here we want to talk about is power arm. Obviously, pitchers with the biggest arms that we saw on the weekend. We're going to lean probably into raw velo here, but sometimes raw velo gets hit, and sometimes there are guys who can make their fastballs play up. And I actually have one of my guys is one of those guys. The big thing is a guy who just absolutely blows people away with their fastball is what we're looking for here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll two with a quick hat tip to a third guy. The two that I really want to lock in on here, the first one was the top velo on the weekend, and that is Josh Perez, 2026 right-handed pitcher out of Spotsylvania High School. Josh was up to 90. He worked 87 to 88 over his 2 innings, got an 89, got a 90. He's got a strong 6'1 frame. There's already been into the weight room, so clearly he's got that strength. He's got the durability built in. Looks like he's already got the ability to carry a heavy inning workload. It's a low slot. The arm is quick and loose. Ball explodes out of his hands. Actually, also kind of like some of the secondary stuff. He throws a power splitter and a really good hard slider. But the big thing was his fastball just jumps on people. It's got some late hard action to it. And he was just blowing guys away with his fastball. Second guy I want to talk about is going to be one of our big winners for the weekend. So hang on for that one later. And that is Aaron Von Toyle. 2025 shortstop, right-handed pitcher out of Heritage High School in Leesburg. We got a chance to see him pitch on Sunday at the tail end of his game. It was 86 to 88, 89. He's got that 6-foot athletic frame, prototypical athletic frame right now, some strength in the lower half. Chance to still add a little more to that frame. Really like the way the arm worked. It's short. He kind of gets on top of the ball and drives it down with some violence. Showed actually two very distinct breaking balls, a curveball. It's got a little slurvy 3/4 action, but there's a ton of movement to it. He can pound it for strikes with some high spin. And then he's got a short little slider that's right around 80 miles an hour. But the big thing was the fastball just jumps on people. It's a heavy ball at 86 to 88, touching 89. There's a chance that we could come back in the spring and he's a consistent 90-mile-an-hour arm. And the other one I wanted to hat tip, so when I say this about fastballs, I don't mean necessarily all guys who throw 90. It's one of the last pitchers I got a chance to watch this weekend, 2026 Luke Mundy out of Hanover. He was 81, 82 from the left side. He's got an athletic frame, but his first inning, he faced 4 hitters. He struck out all 4. He threw one curveball, and he was just absolutely driving fastballs past guys up and in at the belt. He hides the ball real well. He's got a short arm action, a lot of deception in his crossfire delivery, and the ball just jumped on hitters, and that was really impressive. None of those guys had a chance in that first inning against him, and again, 80-81, touching 82 from the left side. A lot of time for him to add strength and be, yet again, the latest Hanover arm that's really good. So, Bert, let me go ahead and throw that one back to you for your power arms.
Yeah, they had a couple of arms, um, that were standouts this weekend. I think Kilgore threw for y'all, Monday. I know that Bryce Crowns threw for us on Saturday. Elrod, so they continue to stockpile them. So yeah, but I'm gonna move on to my power arms. I have two. I'm going to start off with 2026 Jaden Davis. For me, Davis was the highlight arm for me this weekend. There were some others who had really strong performances, but I think overall the combination of the fastball and the breaking ball that he displayed was just kind of led the way. Um, he was 84, 87. And again, we understand that it's early November. Some of these guys have been going since January, some maybe even earlier than that. So for him to be 84, 87, pretty normal effort. It wasn't like he was, really trying to run it up there. Um, but I just think the future is very bright for this one. Um, pretty quiet, clean delivery, arm works, hop on the fastball through the zone, and probably more so than anything, in addition to the power arm part, is that he spun a pretty good breaking ball at 2,600 plus RPM, an average 2,600 RPM. I think it was up to like 2738 with 15 inches of horizontal movement and almost 10 inches of depth on it. Um, he got it under some lefties' hands, and he made some good hitters, some good young hitters, very uncomfortable. Um, I think that that's an arm, and he had an exceptional day just all the way around. Um, at the plate, on the mound, I thought just his 2 days were, kind of second to none, honestly, from what I saw. And that is 26 Jaden Davis from Amherst. The next guy in line. You had Chick Martin, who's at Virginia Tech now, and then you got Dalton Wentz, who's a senior at Amherst now, going to South Carolina, and Jaden seems to be the next one in line there. The next arm I'm going to move to is 25 Nick Newburn, Langley right-hander, 6'5", 190 pounds. We've seen Nick a couple times, whether it be preseason All-State. I want to say we've seen him in a tournament or two this summer. And he's always just been, just a low 80s arm, field the strike zone, pitched, all that stuff. Um, but with the frame, you're like, all right, there's more here, and just a matter of seeing it. And he showed it yesterday. He came out and he absolutely dominated. I will say that I messed up his outing, I guess you could say. Um, we needed one more hitter. We had to get through, a certain number of hitters at times per inning, and yeah, man, I feel like he punched everybody out in the in his last inning, and he walks off the mound. He's all jacked up, and I'm like, hey, go back to the mound. You got one more hitter. So I think that kind of deflated him. But outstanding performance. He was 85 to 87 intent. It was heavy in the zone. He got some swings and misses on a 72 mile an hour breaking ball. Would throw a changeup down in the zone. And again, just like he went out there and absolutely attacked hitters and tried to run it up and run it by guys, and he did a really good job of that. And he was just, you get to some of those games, and some, guys are just kind of tired and out of life and stuff like that, and he definitely kind of pumped things up for everybody on Sunday.
All right. Moving on to our next category here. And we're going to do best barrel feel. So we had a slight change in format this year. And actually, personally, I liked how it worked out. In previous years, we would do the workout and then a single game, and we would have some rather large teams. And some of these games would be 8, 10, 12 innings. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to keep every game to 6 innings. We wanted to keep the teams a little bit smaller so that guys could get at bats. So every single player this weekend got at least 4 live in-game at bats, and they got a chance to play 2 games. A lot of guys got 5 at bats. So we want to take a chance here to talk about some of these guys that really stood out because they were constantly catching barrels, and it really jumped out to us during that live action. So I'm going to go ahead and roll through 3 guys here that jumped out for me. The first one here is Cooper Miskelly, a 2026 shortstop from Heritage High School in Leesburg. Cooper, 5'9", 165, athletic frame. It's just mostly short line drive swing. He's got 7 flat speed right now. Kind of have an all-feel approach. Just does a good job of staying short, staying inside, getting the ball to the barrel and trusting the barrel and letting it work. He was on the barrel a couple different times, uses the whole field. Um, we'll hopefully start growing into some clear gap power right now, but he's definitely got a chance to just be a line drive guy who's going to hit for a high average, mixing some doubles right there. So that's a pretty good starter kit for some things that'll be really good for Heritage this spring. Again, Cooper Miskelly at 2026. I'm sticking Loudoun County here and go to Chase Obstgarten. Outfielder for Independence High School. We've seen Chase a ton over the years. He's big, physical, strong. The kid's clearly been in a weight room, strong lower half. It's a right field profile. He shows the arm strength, but the big thing is, I think a decent nickname for Chase would be Boom Boom. He just hits the ball hard every time. The ball's on the barrel, whether it's to right field, to left field, to center field. He is on the barrel somewhere all the time. I think I saw all 4 of his at-bats on the weekend. He hammered a ball 3 different times, and I think the other time he was on the barrel and just under it. He showed out pretty well. We had him in the conversation for Workout Warrior here as well, too. But we think he fits here, too. The big thing was he had a big weekend. Again, Chase Obstgarten, outfielder from the class of 2025 at Independence High School. And the last guy I'm going to go with here is also another guy who I got lucky enough to catch in both games, and he had pretty good showing both days, and that's Dylan Waits, a middle infielder from Gonzaga College High School in Washington, D.C. Dylan, 5'11", lankier athletic frame, 7'1" runner, 79 from the infield. Another guy who was on the barrel, just doesn't really try to hammer the ball and pull the ball every single time, just hits it where it's at, drives the ball. He did a good job of hitting backside line drives, using the entire field in a showcase setting. That shows maturity to me, because generally you would think in a showcase setting, whether it's even in games, everyone's going to go up there because they want to be the guy that absolutely destroys a ball to left field. But having that maturity to be able to let the ball travel, to be able to drive it to right field, to use the whole field's approach that he probably uses in game is really good showing. Again, Dylan Waits, a 2026 middle guy from Gonzaga, was my third guy. Jason, who are your barrel field guys?
I'm gonna lead it off with one of my favorite underclassmen in the state, definitely in the Richmond area. 26 Brady Elrod out of Hanover. Just a long, lean, athletic frame. It's functional strength. Was a quarterback. He's moved over to the baseball side on a little bit more, I guess you could say, full time basis now. 6'8" runner, 88 from the outfield, 93 exit velo. He checks all the boxes for the workout warrior, like you were talking about. But the biggest thing, like, put him here just because the kid just finds the barrel at the plate. It's a wider base, no pickup, just basically just a little hand load right on the backside. It's kind of already set at separation, just a little hand load, a little twitch with the barrel, and then he gets it through. Uh, I think if there was a little bit more pre-pitch movement, he might be able to tap into the power a little bit more. But regardless, like, he's more consistent on barrel, and it still comes off with some juice. I think he had a lot of tough luck this weekend as well. He hit some balls very hard and just right at people. But regardless, like, this kid is going to be a frontline bat for Hanover for sure, and I think he has an opportunity to be a big bat and probably a little bit more corner projection, but he is an above average runner in the long term, but just a big physical kid who can really play and who can really hit. The next hitter I'm going to move to is Jacob Bueno. Um, he came from North Carolina. Uh, just a little backstory: it's military family, and they came from, I believe, Camp Lejeune in Jacksonville, North Carolina. We had seen some stuff when he came over because he had some events with PBR North Carolina, so we went and watched some video and stuff like that. And then we got a chance to see him with Metro Senators. And so I'd never really seen Jacob play in game, just in some workouts and stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, like, probably top five guy for me coming away from this. Maybe even higher than that, and how impressive he was. This kid could play for me any day. It's quiet confidence about his game. He gets after it just 100 miles an hour all the time. He can play the middle. It's good body, strength. I just and he gets to the barrel. I just love the way the kid plays. He uses the whole field. Same thing kind of with Brady. He had some tough luck, barreled some balls up right at people at times. Um, it's more hit tool and contact bat than power. But I just think the kid has an opportunity to stay in the middle and to be a top half of the order bat for quite a while. And next one I'm moving to, I know we just talked about Jaden Davis on the mound, but I'm gonna be honest, he was pretty impressive at the plate too. He's a pretty strong kid, similar to Elrod. It's a pretty simple swing. It's not many moving parts there. He's a little bit wider. It's a heel lift. He gets it down. It's a heavy, heavy barrel. He got to it consistently. He was a switch hitter. I talked to him about it a little bit this weekend, and sounds like he's scrapped the left side and he's going strictly right side. I know kind of the talking to some people close to him. There was a little bit more juice from the left side, but there was more feel for the barrel, hence the barrel feel category. Um, there was more feel from the barrel from the right side, and I think that just him adding strength and getting bigger and stronger has helped him from the right side, and he continues to be able to hit and not swing and miss a ton from the right side. So that's just gonna add to some of that power as he continues to mature physically. And then my last guy is Aaron Coughlin. Coughlin capped the night off on Saturday night at Nansemond River with a big barrel to center field. He had a double or triple. No stride, hands preset back, just very simple swing. Has some explosion through the zone. The barrel whips through. He's athletic, two-way kid. Threw really well on the bump, but just again showed some nice feel for the barrel. He's a Brentsville district guy, so shout out to BK for that one. But yeah, 25 Aaron Coughlin from Brentsville district caps off my guys who showed some feel for the barrel.
All right, we'll move off of a barrel and we'll go back to the arm options here. And we've done big stuff. Let's go filthiest arm here. So we're going to talk about a guy whose secondary stuff was absolutely dirty. I know I saw a couple of splitters that were jaw dropping as well as a few breaking balls. Literally made me whistle behind home plate. Filthy stuff when you see it. Pitching Ninja likes to put it out on social media, but we see it sometimes too. Some of these guys may not be big velo guys, but the outpitch plays for them. So I believe you have 4 here. I've got 3 here. I'm going to go ahead and start rolling with this. First one I'm going to go to is actually a 2024 from Oakton High School, Ty Ordonez. Ty through Saturday night for us. It's a 6'1", lankier, athletic frame. He was 82, 84, touched 85, got some decent downward movement. But what really jumped for me is Ty threw an absolutely bonkers splitter. Absolutely killed the spin. The spin didn't even register half of the time on TrackMan. He was killing it so much. It was mostly in that 750 range. Dove off the table. He actually ripped one that had about 4 or 5 inches of horizontal movement in on a right-hander, right under the hitter's hands. The pitch was borderline unhittable. Like I said, he ripped off a few good ones. It was really exciting. I wish he'd thrown it more, to be honest with you. So I really like the splitter I got a chance to see from Ty Ordonez, again, 2024 right-handed pitcher from Oakton High School. Next one I want to talk about here is Graham Ward. Graham Ward, third baseman, right-handed pitcher from North Stafford. Man, we could have put Graham in quite a few categories. He had a pretty good weekend, if we're being honest. At the plate, he could have been in barrel field, could have been in workout warrior. But really jumped out for me is him on the mound on Sunday morning, right there at the butt crack of dawn over at Nansemond River. Came out, it was 83, 85, touch 86. Ward, like I said, is a 25. Showed real feel for his slider, being able to change the shape on it, backdoor it, being able to bury it down and bite it for a swing and miss. Really, really like the feel that he showed there. Also mixed in a changeup and was pretty confident with it. So really like that combination of secondary stuff. Made his fastball play up even more. Be real tough out on the mound during the high school season. Again, Graham Ward, a 2025 from North Stafford High School. And the last guy I want to go here, if somewhere Jake Tobin will let me talk about him, is Mills Godwin, left-handed pitcher Carl's Traver. I feel like I should call Jake because I feel like only he's allowed to talk about Godwin players, but hey, whatever. Inside joke. Sorry, guys. All right, Travers, 6'1", 190, athletic frame, left-handed pitcher. There's some strength in the lower half. It was 80, 82, touch 83, but what really stuck for me is the way he used his secondary stuff to make his velocity really play up. He's got a curveball and a slider, two very distinct, different shapes to them. The curveball is a little more vertical, a little more 1-7. That slider, it's late, it's hard. He showed the ability to back foot it. He wasn't afraid to attack in with his fastball off of that slider. The tunneling action was pretty good. I want to say he punched out 3 or 4 guys in his outing on Sunday night, just off of that combination. And so I really like the way that his stuff plays, the way he uses his breaking ball to make that fastball play up. So it really, really worked for me, and I like the way he pitched. And I think it's just some good stuff there. And again, that's Cal Travers, 2025 left-handed pitcher from Mills Godwin. Bert, where do you want to go with your filthy guys?
I wasn't going to step in on the Carl part, but you got it. All right, so my first one, go to 27, Blake O'Berry. First time we saw O'Berry was this summer at junior state games. And the biggest thing that stood out about Blake is his ability to spin it. It is definitely a well above average, probably, advanced feel for spin for a 27. Um, Not a power arm. 77 to 79, touch 80. But again, he's a freshman. But Blake can spin it whenever he wants. Any count, any side hitter, doesn't matter. He's going to put it where he wants to. And really, he doesn't have to have command of that pitch. As long as he can control it and throw it in the zone for strikes, he's going to be really successful with that pitch. Averaged 2487 RPM, had 13 inches of essentially drop, induced vertical break, had negative 13 inches of that, and then had almost 13 inches of horizontal movement. It's bigger shape. Again, he can throw it for strikes, and especially when he's facing 26s and 27s and maybe some 28s. If you can spin it like that, you're going to be pretty successful on the mound. And he does it with a ton of confidence, and I think that helps him just his confidence being able to throw it whenever he wants. And that is 27 Blake O'Berry, who goes to Minchville High School. The next arm I'm going to go to is 26 Dylan Herr, a light ridge arm. I want to say Dylan, I swear he threw 3 innings yesterday. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. Thin, athletic, good mover on the mound. The arm works. It's a low 80s arm. I think there's more there. I could definitely see him end up being, a 6 to 8 guy. But the thing that really stood out about him is his ability to spin. He threw it, and he threw it a ton. And I don't blame him for throwing it a ton, because if my breaking ball looked like that, I'd throw it a ton as well. 70 to 72 miles an hour. Just kind of some of the data points on that pitch. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Up to 27.38 on spin. Average 24.24. He had 14 inches, negative 14 inches of induced vertical break. He had set up to 17 inches of horizontal movement. He landed it in the zone. This says 55%. If anybody knows anything about TrackMan zone, it's pretty tight. If you land at 55% in a TrackMan zone, that means with a high school umpire, you have landed it about 103% of the time. No, 75 plus percent. Sorry, taking shots. 75 plus percent. Like he threw it whenever he wanted. 3-2 counts, 2-0, 0-2, didn't matter. And he spun it at will. I think there were a couple hitters. The only thing they saw was spin. So I thought he did a really nice job. It's an athletic arm. I think there's room to grow there. And that is 26 Dylan Herr out of Light Ridge. Next arm I'm going to stay at 26 is Ben Favreau. I know we got an opportunity to see him this summer in tournaments, and his pitch ability really stood out this summer. I thought on the day it was control over command with the fastball, but the spin really played. There's some uncomfortable swings with the breaker. Let's see, up to 22 inches of horizontal movement on the breaking ball. So, for all you sweeper haters, it's not a sweeper. The angry old people shouting at clouds, that deal. Favreau is one of those guys. The breaking ball has depth. It moves side to side. It's a tough look from either side of the plate, and he pitches and he uses it whenever he wants. And Ben will go to Mechanicsville High School, and I guess joins fellow lefty on the staff with a pretty good breaking ball as well, and Caleb Smith, the Liberty commit. So those are 2 tough arms for Mechanicsville that have a few years left in them there. And my fourth and final arm is going to be another 26, Lorenzo Caffarillo. Caffarillo is the younger brother of Dom Caffarillo, former Future Games alum who's at Miller School. Leo is at Charlottesville High School, catcher and right-handed pitcher. I thought he really stood out on the mound. He works from a really tough slot, and when you're young like Leo is, he's a sophomore. it's tough to be, a big command arm from that slot and be able to spin it and throw 2+ pitches from that sidearm slot. So it makes for some really tough ABs if you run one in, if you run a fastball in, and then you run that slider back outside. It makes guys very uncomfortable, and not a lot of success happened versus Leo yesterday. 80-82 on the fastball from the sidearm slot, 73-75 on the slider. I thought he was really, really good. Was really impressed with his ability to just come right back at guys. I'll be honest, he ran the fastball in on some guys and got it pretty tight, and may or may not have plucked one or two, but that's going to happen with that side armor. And I thought he bounced back from that. 23-10 on the slider, 14 inches of horizontal movement, landed in the zone 50% of the time. I just thought it was a really good pitch from that slot, and his ability to throw it for strikes.
All right, let's move off of arms here and let's move to what we're going to call gold gloves. And I got a reason for that. So, Sunday night, Rawlings announces 2023 MLB Gold Glove Award winners. And the recipient of the National League Centerfield Gold Glove Award in 2023 was Rockies rookie center fielder Brenton Doyle. Now, I'm pinning this for a second because Doyle is a 2016 alum of Kettle Run High School up here in Fauquier County, Virginia. Went through Shepherd, got drafted out of there. And not only all of that, but Doyle was a participant in PBR Virginia DC's very first event, way back 9 years ago in November of 2014 at the University of Virginia. So we want to go ahead and take a second here to honor Doyle and a little hat tip to him, as well as a couple of defenders who stood out for us. And I'm going to go with a pair. And the first one I want to go to here is Halifax County 2026 catcher Carter Thomason. Thomason, 5'11", strong, athletic, catcher's frame, strength in the lower half. Man, I really like the way he worked out. Catchers, we don't worry about the 60-yard time. It's the pop time. It was a quick release, 193, 2 flat. He was accurate with it. Arm strength already at 77 for a 26. Got a chance to watch him catch in game the next day as well. The block receive is pretty good. Does a good job of pulling pitches into the strike zone. Doesn't let stuff get by him. So really liked him defensively. At the plate, it's a bonus that he can kind of bang it a little bit already. 96 on his exit velocity. Kid can hammer balls, especially to that pull side. So I really like what we got defensively there. And Carter Thomason, a 26 catcher from Halifax County. And the other one I want to go to is a bit more of a versatile guy here, and this is Trent Sutrick, third baseman, outfield, and it really legitimately might be both, out of Kempsville High School. Trent, 6'3", 175. There's a lot of projection left in that frame. I like his first step quickness over at third base. I think there's decent arm strength there with that 84 across the infield. I like that the arm strength plays up when he goes into the outfield. Looks like a guy who could clearly be a decent defender at third base, and I thought it worked there, but also could transition to the outfield if needed be and show that corner arm strength or corner outfield arm strength. So I like the versatility, the athleticism to do both, and really think that that's going to play up for him with that versatility. So I really like defensively what we saw as an all-around player from 2025 Trent Sutrick out of Kempsville High School, third baseman, outfielder. Bert, where do you want to go defensively?
I'm going to start behind the plate. I know you started behind the plate, so I'll follow it up a little bit. Warwick High School catcher 2025, sorry. 2025 Warwick High School catcher Connor Smith. Man, he is really filled out. If you look at his profile, it was like, I think it was at ODU 2 summers ago, maybe. Or I guess, yeah, summer of 22. Is just this small, thin, just kind of compact kid, and he has really filled out. He has hit the weight room, and he has been at the dinner table, and he has really just added some really nice strength. It's a pretty durable frame, 6'2", 210, really filled out. Showed off some big arm strength behind the plate, 81, put it on the bag. Um, I just think he continues to impress. Think he does a nice job defensively behind the plate. There's a little juice in the bat. He's got the ability to hit. He's a pretty strong kid. I think catcher, first base, but the arm strength, kind of leaves you some intrigue there to the fact that he can stick behind the plate. And I just think that the defensive side is a plus for him, and the offense continues to show in game as well. And that is Connor Smith, 2025 catcher out of Warwick High School. And the next two, I'm going to double up. Obviously, I'm going to go back to back anyway, but I'm going to go to two infielders. The first one I want to talk about, another Hanover guy for all you guys that get bored us talking about or me talking about Hanover guys. Grayson Reese, 2026 middle infielder. Man, he can pick it. I was out in center field covering pitchers and watching pitchers and stuff like that. So I get to be out there hanging out with the middle infielders and talking to those guys and just listening to them. And he's talking every single hitter, bag coverage, the timing. He's looking at when a guy's front foot is getting down. He's seeing if guys are late. Where should we shade to? This, that, and the other. And while that doesn't really have anything to do with their glove, it really helps out because it puts him in better position to make plays where he doesn't have to range as far right or left. I thought he did a phenomenal job. The kid can really defend. He comes forward well on balls. It's probably average arm strength. What was he? It's 81 across the infield. So yeah, average arm strength, but he gets it out quick. He's accurate. He's accurate on the run. He can turn the pivot in the middle. I really like the defensive upside for Reese. And then another one is a 27. This is a St. Anne's Belfield infielder, Waylon Ammons. Funny story on Ammons. Ammons was a first baseman. And you don't, I was talking to Waylon last night. He played in the last game. I was talking to him. I was like, Waylon, you don't hear too many guys that start at first base and then end up playing short and looking as good and being as good as he is at short. Um, usually you hear about the guy who's at short and gets a little bit older, and then just everybody sees that he can't play short anymore. So then he goes to first. But 6'1", long, rangy, lanky frame. Um, he can really defend. He came forward on a few balls last night and just made it look easy. The transfer from glove to hand and out of the hand is clean. Same thing, average arm strength right now, but he's a pretty good sized kid, pretty long and lanky. He may end up having to move to third or maybe just corner in general, but the hands really work. I like his ability to defend in game, and just that's my Gold Glove Award winner for me. Those three: Ammons, Waylon Ammons, 2027, St. Anne's Belfield.
All right. And yes, time to move on here to our final category here. We're going to wrap this up with what we're calling big winners. And these are some guys who maybe they didn't come into the event with a ton of helium or a ton of action, or they were a bit under the radar, but they had absolutely monster weekends and really, really blew up for the event. And the list we've got here is wide ranging. Some of these guys we've mentioned before. A few of the ones that we have already. So I'm going to fly through this here,
Well,
at least some
Nolan,
of mine a little bit faster. First one, uh,
Nolan,
yeah,
I was just going to say, why don't we just bounce?
bounce back and forth. All
Yeah.
right, we can do that. We'll bounce. We've been going just one at a time here. We'll go ahead and bounce back and forth since we've got similar numbers on this one. So I'll go first here. One I've already talked about as a pitcher. I'm going to talk about him now as a hitter. Aaron Van Toyle, shortstop, right-handed pitcher from Heritage High School up in Leesburg. Aaron, coming off a monster high school season, had a big summer. Really liked the athleticism in the frame. We talked about it on the mound. It's 86 to 88, touch 89. The bat might be better. Okay, as silly as that sounds. 7-1 runner. It's arm strength across the infield. Even if he ends up having a slide to third base, I think shortstop could work, but there's definitely present gap power, chance to grow into more. He can turn on the ball and drive it pretty far. Really, really like offensively what we see from Van Toyle. He's going to be a hell of a ball player, and he's going to be a great late get here for somebody. Not that it's like super late for the 25s, but they've had recruiting open now for 3 or 4 months. So he's going to be a heck of a get for someone. I thought he had a spectacular weekend, not just on the mound, but at the plate as well. All right, Bert, where are you going to go here?
I'm gonna go to Churchland High School. Cameron Duke. Uh, Everybody loves a left-handed hitter, and my man can hit. The swing absolutely plays. 5'9", 160, compact, uh, outfielder, average runner. Um, I think that's the one area that'll probably have to get a little bit better. But he can flat out swing it. The swing has length in the zone. It has adjustability. Showed really good plate discipline. We kept trying to put Cameron back up there yesterday because he kept walking. I think he walked like 3 times yesterday. And we're like, all right, get back in there, just expand it a little bit and let it eat. First pitch, he barreled one up, but ended up flying out to center. I just really like the way the swing plays. 2026, honestly, like we don't get out to Churchland a ton. So it was good to see him and be able to get some eyes on him this spring. Um, yeah, Cameron Duke just kick and hit. Swing plays, left-handed hitter. Get on him.
Everybody loves a left-handed bat for sure. All right, I'm gonna go into your backyard here. Glen Allen High School 2025 third baseman, right-handed pitcher Ian Baldwin. I want to talk about him on the mound. Got a chance to sit on him Saturday night up at War Memorial, and it was electric. 6'1", 190-pound frame. It's a lower arm slot. It's quick. It's loose. Really like the demeanor on the mound. Just the energy. Get back up on there and fire. You'd really like it too. Get ball pitch. It was 85, 87, topped 88, showed decent secondary stuff. Slider was 76, 78. It's got some shape. Spin could use some tightening. But he was another kid who threw one of the couple of splitters that I saw on Saturday that were just unconscious. It was 77, 79, killed the spin on it down to 88 or 800 or so RPM, and got swing and misses with it. The pitch has a serious chance to be a really good out pitch for him. Thought it was an outstanding outing all around, and that was Ian Baldwin from Glen Allen High School 2025. Two-way, but I really like him off of what I saw on the weekend as a pitcher. Bert, your next guy.
Grant Shifflet. Grant Shifflet, 2026, left-handed hitter, shocker, out of Albemarle High School. 6'2", 180. There is some serious boom boom in Grant Shifflet's bat. I know you were talking way earlier, seems like about 4 hours ago, um, about hitting the ball out to right field that day. It wasn't a crazy wind, but it was, it was a little bit of wind blowing in. Put 4 balls out to the pull side. There's some uphill path. Um, Kind of stays right in the middle, slightly over the backside on finish, and it forces that barrel to get uphill a little bit. And I'm gonna tell you what, like there's some juice there. He swings with authority. That was my first time seeing Shifflet, and the offense in BP was impressive. I'm not sure he may have been a guy that some of us didn't get to see everybody in game. He may have been a guy that slipped through on me. Um, but I really like the physicality. I think he was 88 across the infield. I think it was top infield arm across. Yeah, top infield arm across at 88. 7'3" runner. So corner profile, but big left-handed bat.
I'll be honest with you. When we were doing our prep for this, you put your names into your slots first here on our working outline, and I was annoyed that you had Shifflet down here because I wanted to use him in 2 or 3 different other places. So yeah, no, he was an impressive batting practice on Saturday. I'm going to go back and just re-mention again the top velocity arm of 2026 right-handed pitcher here, Josh Perez out of Spotsylvania High School. I know we talked about the fastball. I know I mentioned real quickly the secondary stuff, the splitter. He ripped a couple of good ones. The slider's there. It's definitely a 3-pitch mix. He's got the kind of frame that you can throw a load on. He's a guy that I know for a fact that you and I are going to have to figure out some way how to see him at least twice between the two of us coming this spring, possibly 3 times. And that's going to be interesting getting to see Spotsy, but we'll make it work because that arm was electric. That was a hell of a way to punctuate his summer or his season there for him. And it'll be really interesting to see where he is next spring. Again, Josh Perez, 2026 right-handed pitcher out of Spotsylvania High School. Bert, where are you going now?
I'm gonna go to the Fighting Freddies. I'm going to Matorka High School.
I
J.
really love the way you say Matuoka. I try to like mock it sometimes. It's just special. You have a special way of rolling that A and O, by the way.
Matoaka. My mom proud graduate of Matoaka High School. Um, but yeah, no, JT Brown. We got to get his profile picture updated. We're recording this in the morning, and I think, man, that profile picture from 2 years ago. Pretty durable, thick kid. When he was a little bit younger, I told him, he's gonna have to hit that weight room and get to that dinner table and bulk up a little bit because he's really thinned down. He looks really good. He moves really well. It's a pretty long frame, pretty thin. Um, I think that he definitely has the ability now to stick at third base. I thought before he was going to have to move over to first, just I think because of potential for range limitations. But I'm not concerned about that as anymore because he's really transformed the body. He's listed at 6 foot 175. Seems a little bit longer than that. 7-2 runner. Made some really nice plays defensively. And the swing just plays. I love the way the barrel works in the zone. 96 off the bat. Uh, he just barreled baseballs up in BP. He had really quality at bats in game. There's power to the pull side. It's carry in the gap, carry to the middle. He really looks the part, and I just think that I came away very impressed. It was a guy that I knew about for sure. We hadn't gotten some numbers on and stuff like that in quite a while, and just getting an opportunity to see him in an extended look. He's gonna be a big part of that Matoka team this year.
Nice. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go. You mentioned this guy up above hitting, and I got a chance to see him pitch. And this is Logan Clark, Halifax County, 2026 outfielder, right handed pitcher. Kid is just the latest stud to come out of Halifax County. Add him to the list. Can absolutely bang it from the left side, which is what you mentioned. Again, another guy who was challenging what we saw there on the for that ability to go out of the park that day. Up on the mound was where I got a chance to see him. And it was 83, 87, touch 88. Showed a good breaking pitch, ability to hold a changeup up there. Really like the short arm action, the way he works downhill and just drives the ball. Really love the way that the ball just got deep on guys. Again, like I said, there's a chance to add some velocity. That slider's tight and late. Again, just the latest guy from freaking the latest guy from Halifax. When does Halifax not have a power arm? And then on top of that, he can bang it from the left side. So Logan Clark, 2026 from Halifax County, going to be the latest reason we all got to drive to South Boston this spring. All right, Bert, where are you going here?
I am going to go back. I know I talked about him before, but I just thought he was a big winner for me, and that's Jacob Bueno. I don't want to really beat a dead horse. I really talked about Jacob at length earlier. Compact, athletic, high energy, defends in the middle, has some feel for the barrel. I love the way he plays the game. I think that he has a chance to stay in this game for an extended period of time in some capacity, just because of what he brings with how he carries himself on the field, um, and the tools that he brings as well. That's Jacob Bueno, Hayfield High School. So Nolan, you'll get a chance to see Bueno this spring. But yeah, 2026 Hayfield, Jacob Bueno.
Hayfield Secondary School. They're one of those schools that has that silly name. I know. Because originally when they were created, they were 7 to 12. They're 9 to 12 now. All
Hey,
right, guy I'm going to go to. Guy we've seen at this event 3 years in a row now. I'm going to miss him next year. 2024 right-handed pitcher Kaden Takahashi Trader. Caden is from Tab High School. It's an athletic 6'1" frame. It's been a steady progression for him over the course of this event, and I really thought he was the first down arm for me out of the gate on Saturday, and got it off to a pretty good start there. It was 84, 87. He topped at 88. Um, Showed some great late induced movement on the arm side with the fastball, ability to locate a changeup, curveball. It's a three-pitch mix at this point, 2024. He's going to be a heck of a pickup. Could be a late steal for someone. A D3 coach is going to end up really, really happy with him. Chance to be a good late grab for them. Really liked what I saw there. Thought he was a big winner, seeing the velo jump, the ability to locate three pitches. There were a decent number of coaches in attendance at War Memorial on Saturday night, and they were all glued in on Kaden. So thought it was a good showing for Tab 2024. Kaden Takahashi Trader. So good job for him. Bert, where are you going now?
I'm gonna stay down in the beach area, and I'm gonna go to Princess Anne High School, Xavier Dun. Um, I'm gonna be honest, like I hadn't really seen much of Dune. I think we'd maybe had opportunity to see him once before. I can't remember. It was an indoor event. I want to say at Coastal. It was probably preseason All State or something like that. Um, thin. He's listed at 5'9". He seems a little bit taller, a little bit longer than that, but thin frame. Princess Anne High School, 2025 infielder. Uh, like you can take all the measurables and all those things and do all of that stuff, but I thought the kid just played. Watching him kind of prep in the infield, watching him move on ground balls, watching him at the plate, I thought it was really quick hands at the plate during BP and for his offensive side. It's a hit tool, contact bat, line drives, doubles. If he can add some strength, he could tap into the doubles a little bit more. It's not going to. I don't think it's ever going to be a power bat by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a middle infielder who just plays kind of at a different pace. Um, I just like the way he carried himself. I just like the energy that he brought. It's fun to see, or it's interesting and fun to see the difference in you have an event who has 24s, 25s, and then you have these 27s who are 14 years old. And it's pretty crazy to see the difference in just the energy and stuff like that. These older players have kind of been under the bright lights, if you will, and played in showcase events and played with all these players and gone all over the country and region and whatever else and played in playoff games. And so when they get a moment like that or they get in a big event or something, they just seem to kind of have another gear. And then you see some of the younger players who are, again, like 14 years old and haven't been to anything like that. And they just sometimes kind of freeze up and are a little bit more quiet and, kind of crickets during some of those games. And Dune was one of those guys for the older group who just kind of brought that energy and brought that confidence and swagger to a game. I just think I just really like the way he plays.
All right, and I got one last one here. I'm going to go a little bit off base here with this one, and a big winner for me. Light Ridge High School, the Lightning. Going to be their third or fourth year competition under head coach Kenny Moreland since the school opened up in South Riding. They had three guys who I thought really, really showed out this weekend. The first one, Jimmy Burpo, 2025 middle infielder, is probably going to move towards, if he wasn't already a shortstop for them, is going to move in that direction. Maybe he'll play third. Thought he showed some gap power, chance to drive the ball. It's an athletic frame, so Burpo, the first one. You already talked about Dylan Hurt. I got a chance to see Dylan in tournament action a couple of weeks ago. God, that hammer plays. So you add him to a rotation that's already going to feature Mason Sproat. And that's a heck of a 1-2 right there in those two. And they'll actually be back the following year. And then the big one and the big standout for me the entire weekend, probably the biggest winner, is Ben Drinkwine, 2026 outfielder. We could have put him in anywhere, pretty much in any of these categories that weren't pitching one. It was a 100 exit velo. He lists himself as 6'2", 205, but I feel like he's bigger than that. He's just a monster of a human being. But it's an athletic frame, and he moves. He's 88. He's got a prototypical right fielder's frame and build. He absolutely demolishes baseballs. He actually probably owes us about $30 at $6 a ball for the 5 balls he put out in his 2 BP rounds. And they weren't like into the bullpen. They're in the parking lot. Those things are gone forever. So bat speed was 82.9 according to Blast. He's a physical freak and absolutely demolishes baseballs. And he shows barrel feel too. He was on the barrel a bunch during games. So Drink Wine, You would think that that's the makings of a guy who's going to be a centerpiece of the lineup, but the lineup that they're going to have there is also going to feature senior UVA commit Jimmy Nunnally at catcher. They're also going to have Donovan Newell, the CNU commit in the leadoff spot, who's just a barrel feels sub-7 runner. Like, they got a lot of things going on for them at Light Ridge High School. Tyler Rowling has moved over there as well too, so another middle guy. So it's going to be pretty good. It was a good showing last weekend for Light Ridge, and I'm really excited about what those guys are going to have this spring for Coach Moreland. Going to be a fun time to get out to South Riding and catch them. Bert, where do you want to go to wrap up here?
I'm gonna make your Loudoun County or whatever people angry because I'm gonna one up you and go over to the Independence Tigers.
You mean you're going to hop across Route 50 a mile and a half away?
Got no clue. I follow the GPS. Wherever the GPS says turn, I turn. Um, Side note, complete sidebar. I have no clue how people like did just say kind of did what we did, if you will, or scout or travel around without GPS. I cannot imagine being in Northern Virginia with a freaking road atlas with a map.
Well, there were probably 1/10 as many roads back then, so
That's fair. That's fair. But anyway, again, complete sidebar. Um, I'm going across, in Nolan's words, Route 50, Route 50, whatever, and going to Independence High School. What a showing that those guys had this weekend. I'm just going to try to, I'm going to try to scan real quick. Quinn Pock, Chase Obstgarden. I'm going up the list. It's that many to where I want to make sure that I don't miss anyone. Um, Shane Howie, Colton Hicks, uh, Matthew Feldman. That might be it. I feel like it was 100. Um, that might be it. Is that it, Nolan? I think so.
I don't know off the top of my head. I just know that it felt like every 10 minutes one of our Maryland staffers was asking me what Independence's Twitter account is.
Yeah. I'm gonna start off. Quinn Pock. Quinn Pack. Sorry, Quinn. Um, Junior Future Games guy. Absolute ball of energy. He's a smaller guy. He's what listed 5'6", 162. Plays at 1,000,000 miles an hour. All over the place, just bouncing off the walls. Gets on first base. He's going within the first two pitches. Just letting you know that now. Um, Taking an extra base, on a base hit or on a throw in error or whatever, all over the place in the outfield, can defend, can come in the infield and defend a little bit. Um, just a ton of energy. Love the way he plays the game. Like, that guy is just a shot in the arm when he gets on the field and on the bases. Then, you go up to Obstgarden. You talked about Obstgarden earlier. Uh, you talked about him at length. I don't need to talk about him. Offense, versatility, can do a little bit of everything. Let's see. Let's keep moving up. I know was Howie the next one? Shane Howie, um, above average hand speed, doubles power, can hits in game. I think I want to say he was a guy for Independence last year in a pretty loaded lineup, and he got himself some time if I remember correctly. Um, I mean, there's another one. You got Colton Hicks. Love Colton Hicks. 26, 6'1", 175 pounds. Can pitch it a little bit. Honestly, I thought like last year at state games, I thought he was going to be more arm than bat. And then he came out and started at like third base for Independence like every game last year as a freshman. And he really swung it for them. He has added strength. He shows some feel for the barrel. There's some power there. Nolan, you look like you wanted to add something to Hicks.
No, just it's yeah, all these things. I agree with you. I thought it might be more arm first last year, but the bat's definitely leaning ahead right now, and
Uh,
that could easily flip next year.
yeah, Matthew Feldman. This is a guy I hadn't seen. Had not seen Feldman. Strong lower half. Got a little juice in the bat. Really liked him on the mound. Same thing. He's got a little swagger to him. He's got that kind of that edge that you want in an arm. I want to say he was up to like 83, 84 on the mound. Uh, had good ride in the zone, breaking ball above average spin. I think that they continue to stack talent there. And as much as they lost last year, in terms of guys off of that team, I think that while they may not be the same talent wise, I think just like I just said with Pot, like it's a shot of energy with those young guys who just play at a million miles an hour and who have a little I guess we can't put the word in here, who have a little something to them. And I don't know. I think that's a very exciting program who you can't say is on the rise because they're up there near the top. But I don't see them. I don't see them rebuilding. I just see them reloading.
I'm going to use them as a quick example of thing that we talked about. I want to say a week or two ago, a couple pods ago. You mentioned that sometimes at some of these programs that are just absolutely stacked with talent, it's really, really hard for underclassmen. So, like, even if some of these guys we're talking about right now showed out, they might be behind other players at positions, and maybe they're not getting a chance to play during the spring. Um, so don't get your head down if you're in that situation. So I really think you're right. They're absolutely stacked with talent. There's a couple of teams that we can talk about that are that way. I mean, heck, somehow we've managed to not talk about Riverside at all during this. I thought Dylan Amos really showed out. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of talent out there, and there's a couple of schools that are just so loaded that it's really hard to quantify everything that's available to them. And Independence is absolutely one of them. They're an exciting team. So I think you're right. I think Independence, I think right across 50, like I mentioned, Light Ridge. I mean, Freedom's right up the street too. There's a ton of talent concentrated right around there in South Loudon. I mean, Paul the Sixth. So a lot going on. Any other notes on guys right now, or do you think we made it?
I mean, I think we made it. I wouldn't say in record time. Maybe the wrong record.
I was about to
Um,
say we're challenging crab cakes in baseball. This is about what their average runtime is.
yeah, but they're talking about 7 players. We talked about 70. Um, no, I'm sorry, I took shots.
I'm leaving that part in. I'm going to actually probably turn that into a social media clip.
Uh, but no, I mean, just very appreciative of everyone who came out, who helped. Patrick Scoggins and Dylan Stoll through BP. Um, Sorry to anyone who may have been thrown aback by Skoggs. Um, when you hitters, when you get in there, get ready to swing the bat. He has a very good point. Um, you don't take the first pitch when you get in there to hit in game. You do your pre work on deck. Same thing for BP, and BP's easier.
Let's
So
be honest. You did say ask Skoggs if he needed a Snickers.
yeah, I did. He was hangry, but he also threw to about 110 kids at about 15 pitches apiece. Um, so you can do the math on that one. I mean, I would say well over 1,500 pitches for Skoggs on the day. So he had every right when you took the first one down the pooper.
There was a dad who, when he came off after the infield, said, "I'm taking ibuprofen for you."
Yeah, no, and Dylan's BP and Dylan's Fungo, the event would not have been able to go on like it did without those two. And thank you to the parents and players and everyone else who made it work, and those of you that jumped out of the event at the last minute. Sorry you did. It would have been great to have seen you there.
All right. That's going to be a wrap for this pod. Look for statistical leaderboards to roll on the website all week. They'll lead into superlatives next week. We are going to take deeper dives into standouts from the event in our next 3 episodes. Then I know I'm going to trigger you a little bit by saying this. It's time for a rankings update. Bert, what's the upcoming rankings release schedule again?
I want to say it's like the week of like the. Oh man, that's a thing. It's like yeah, it's next week. Uh,
Sorry.
I was like, all right, we got 2 weeks. Nope, nope, next week. So I want to say it's like the 14th, and we'll roll for 4 straight weeks. I want to say we start with 24s, and then go up until 27s. Our initial 27s release, that I am thoroughly looking forward to.
All right. Well, also look for accompanying pod episodes for each of those updates. Lastly, the Fall State Games is a wrap on our 2023 on field season. But hey, guess what? 2024 is right around the corner, coming in late January. We'll have our annual Rising Stars showcases, followed by our February events. The big one in February is the National Kickoff event, the Super 60 in Chicago. I think we got a couple candidates for that this year. We'll see how that goes. And then our big local events, our preseason event series, the preseason all state. We've had 3 events the last few years. We are moving it to 4 this year. We're going to be in Norfolk, Richmond, Northern Virginia, and for the first time down in the Southwest. I believe we have full announcements for those events coming here in the next week or so at the latest. Make sure you grab your spot early. They're going to fill fast. Bert, how many guys did we have in Richmond last year at Iron Bridge?
A lot. I
Yeah,
mean, it, I want to say Nova was at Focus. At Focus, we were over 80,
that sounds right.
and then we were I want to
70 or 80 at Coastal.
yeah, and then we were like 120 plus, 115 plus at Iron Bridge. Um, and now we will be adding a stop to the tour.
Yep. So look for those announcements and make sure you're planning to grab your spots. Go ahead and get them. I think that's going to be it for us today. So that's a wrap on this episode, and we'll see you out there.